Hello and welcome to Sales Toner. Today we are going to be talking about how to quit drugs. I have to confess, what I'm going to say is based on my own experiences. I'm not a clinician, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a rehab technician, I'm in no way a professional in this stuff. But I'm someone who has used a variety of drugs and I've managed on my own to quit doing drugs and pursue some other things in my life. So I feel I'm an authority with regards to drug use or drug abuse, as it is called. I smoked a lot of weed since 2014 until February this year. I would smoke a lot of weed. I would smoke it like a chain smoker. I would smoke cigarettes. I sipped codeine. I sipped promethazine. I would inject myself with xanax, or as we call it here in Africa, diazepam. I would inject myself with that. I would take it orally. I would take, smack, black tar heroin, as I think it's called in the States. Here we just call it smack. I would take ketamine in various forms. I would try it and sniff it. I would shoot it up. I would just drink it in the liquid form. I even dabbled with crystal meth and booze, among other things. The list is quite huge. So when people try to tackle this issue of how to stop taking drugs, I think the approach that people take is not as effective. I've seen a lot of efforts people take to win off drugs, to win themselves off drugs or to make their loved ones stop taking drugs. People are dragged off to rehab, and when they come back from rehab, people are shocked that those people relapse and go back to taking drugs without realizing that addressing the drug use is not the correct way to make people stop, but addressing what led the person to take the drugs is more important than trying to just make the person stop. Yes, if you take a person to rehab where he will be under observation 24 hours a day, he will stop. He has no option. Sometimes he would even be motivated to stop, but when they come back to their environment where they actually spend their time, their life, they'll just go back because the reasons, the why factor, what made them take the drugs is not being addressed. As for why people take drugs, some people will just take drugs, to relieve themselves of stress, to chase the euphoria, because their lives would be, I don't want to use the word empty, but their lives would be empty. They would feel unfulfilled. Their dreams, their hopes, their worries, will lead them to drug use. Some people have childhood trauma, many different types of problems, and drugs, are a very quick way to turn off the pain. I can attest to that. I've been around my fair share of drugs. You know, some even take them just for the sake of belonging. When you are with your fellow druggies, the sense of community is as strong as being part of a church or a cult. You know, you are together, you share this great euphoric feeling together, you become like a family. So if you take a person to rehab and then they come back to their family, it's only logical that they resume, because that would be the only support system that the person would know. His friends, whom he or she does drugs with. So the person will simply get back to doing drugs. As for me, I just started, you know, as a way to just experiment and broaden my horizons. I just wanted to find out how it feels. I started off, with booze. I would smoke weed, as I said. I would sip, I would sniff, I would shoot up. It was fun. You know, and I should add that my drug usage started when I was in college. When I was training for my job, and it in no way hampered my educational pursuits, because I would wake up in the morning, smoke some weed, whatever, come back from school, come back from class and sip some booze. I wouldn't drink beer because it it was not quick enough. I would come back and take shots. I would hit shots. I love vodka. I would hit the vodka. I would take, like, without even taking off my clothes as I came from class. I would take like 4 shots, take off my clothes, pour some shots, and add some soda, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever. Go to the roof of my apartment, roll a couple of blunts, and begin to drink the vodka with soda. I spent 5 years of my life, you know, doing that. As I finished school, as I finished training for my job, I went to a small town to work. And as I got to that small town, I had, few friends. It's just a small town, nothing fun there. And it was rather fortunate, ironically, that I was a drug user, and I managed to find some other people who shared my passion for drugs, and those were my homies. I would chill with them after work, or when I was off duty. I would just chill with them, smoke, go to some places, drink. That was my life. So the why as to why I use drugs, it started off as just experimentation, then as a way to just kill time as I did my education. Subsequently, as I got to work, it became a way to kill the boredom. As I was in a new place, I had no friends. It's a small town, nothing much to do. There's not even a movie theater, just small bars, or actually, I think the equivalent to my American friends is a liquor store. We call them bottle stores. Yeah, you can't even drink in there. You have to take your shit home. So, being a drug user, I would just buy, go home, smoke with my boys, and just chill. So, um, as I have said, I smoked and used drugs for like 5 years, and what motivated me to quit this sort of lifestyle was the fact that as I had finished, my education, I was employed permanently, I was pursuing a career. I just started taking stock of my life. I was no longer the young kid that I was, in 2014 to 2020. Right now, I'm now 26, going on 27. I know for some that may not sound that old, but I feel like I've grown up. I'm now an older nigga, and I think by now I should start thinking about how to, you know, secure my future. You know, I need to get the bag. I hope to start a business. I hope to get a better job and then subsequently start a business. By a better job, I mean I have a government job which is supposed, to pay me enough, but I had the misfortune of being born in a country that is experiencing hyperinflation, and even though I'm a professional, I hold the necessary education needed to be, somewhere blue collar. You know, if I was in America, I would be earning in the neighborhood of 40 to 70,000. That's what people who do the same profession that I do, and I have dreams of one day, emigrating maybe to the UK or to the US and earning better money. I'm currently doing an English proficiency test that will enable me to follow up on those plans. I have a fallback plan. I plan, to maybe get a job in the private sector, with some NGO where I can, get a little bit better paid so that I can pursue my dreams. I hope to start a small business or a farm, and if I get that, I'll be a very contented, human being. So, with those aspirations, I saw that the lifestyle that I was leading was not conducive, to fulfilling those aspirations that I had. I would, when you are high, you don't feel motivated to do anything, to I would, as I said, I had no problems absolutely showing up for work. I would go to work. I would do the bare minimum required, but I wouldn't take extra shifts. When I was off duty, I wouldn't hustle. Take side jobs, side hustles. In my country where I'm from, there's this informal sector where you can buy US dollars, sell them for the local currency, rinse, repeat, do the same process. Such deals, they don't give you much money, but when you are off drugs, the money can increase exponentially. So I noticed that when I was high, I couldn't do all that shit. I couldn't be as productive as I could be. So it was just in the back of my mind for the past, year or so since I have been permanently employed. So I was lucky enough to have my first vacation leave. So I went back to my mother's place for 2 months. And during that time, it was really hard for me to procure drugs. All my high school friends, people I grew up with, had gone, to seek employment in the capital city of my country and in other places, some were even abroad. And I would spend like a day, 2 days without doing drugs, and I just noticed that I could live like this. And with the aspirations that I had at the back of my mind, it was just it was just something that I would think about every day. When I was high, I could console myself and say, well, there's still time, I could do this. But when I got sober, I just really thought about it rationally, and I thought that if I would smoke, I would stop. I would stop taking drugs, cold turkey, and focus on my aspirations. That would be very, very therapeutic. So I simply stopped cold turkey. It was around 22, 23 February 2020. I just decided to stop and start to pursue my dreams. And ever since, I began feeling much healthier. You know, I felt I felt better. Stopping really made me feel better, and I haven't looked back ever since I stopped, and it's quite a nice experience. So what I'm saying is, if anybody is trying to quit, is trying to stop taking drugs, they need the motivation. What do you want to do when you quit? Do you just want to quit and remain, in your current grind, which won't be possible, because if you don't have anything to do once you quit, you will fall into relapse. So whenever you want to quit drugs, you should have something to do. Find a job, start a relationship, mend a relationship, even a hobby. Right now, I enjoy making beats. I know that won't amount to anything, but they are very therapeutic. I open FL Studio, I start making beats, it's calming. So when a person decides to quit drugs, they need a replacement. Not a replacement drug, but a replacement hobby. Get creative, something to put your energies upon. So this is just the first in this installment of how to quit drugs. And in the comment section, if anybody wants me to make a longer version or shorter videos, really getting to highlight and explain all the points that I have raised in this video, I will be willing to make a follow-up video. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is, when you decide to stop or want to help someone stop taking drugs, you need to establish a why that person uses drugs. You need to establish when they started smoking drugs. It's a very important thing. You need reasons as to why that person needs to stop or why you want to stop, and what you replace that drug usage with. Because drug usage in itself is not the problem. The problem is what led to the drug use. So you need to search and find the root cause. Once you find the root cause for the drug use, you can stop. This has been Say Stoner. Like, subscribe, share. I hope this video speaks to somebody. Peace.